Hi, this is Billy D. If you enjoy this podcast, please like and subscribe. Let's grow NAI basketball. Thank you. Cascade Hoops Talk, bringing the world NAI basketball one podcast at a time. Hey, welcome to Cascade Hoops Talk. This is Billy D. Today we're going to continue our preseason look. Today we're going to talk to Coach Chris Wright. He's the head men's basketball coach of the Langston Lions. Remember last year, I think in the round of 16, they lost to Georgetown. But this is a team, again, I know you know the history. I think they won 2 games in 3 years. Coach Wright went over there. They won 31 games there last season. And we're going to talk about this group he has coming in, but it looks like they might be better than last year. Of course, Coach Chris Wright is going to have to put that all together and make it work. But he'll talk about his team and his outlook. Hope you enjoy. This is Coach Chris Wright, Langston Lion basketball. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. I got Chris Wright, Langston University head coach. Chris, thank you very much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Billy D, it's always good to talk with you, sir.
You get to Langston last year. I think around this time last year we talked, and you thought you were going to put together a pretty good team. I remember looking at the record, I think 2 wins in 3 years, and I said, oh, yeah, good for Coach Wright. I hope that works out. And then the next thing you know, I go to Kansas City, and you're sitting there playing Georgetown. Now you're settled in. You've been there a whole year. Talk about how Langston's treating you and where Langston basketball is right now.
You know, I feel really blessed just to be at a place that, you know, cares about basketball. The utmost supportive administration from our president to our athletic director, to just the whole Langston community. Just the amount of support that we receive from our alumni, it's amazing. And so just me personally, I couldn't ask to be in a better small college environment. So I'm really thankful and really thrilled to be here.
Coach, I want to read something that you said recently. You said, no one in our program is satisfied with winning the conference or even 31 games. That is not why we came to Langston. Talk about that we'll talk about what you meant by that.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think anytime you win a conference, right, it's a great accomplishment, especially a conference like the Sooner Athletic Conference. There's a lot of coaches, really good coaches here. I mean, 2 coaches that have won national titles. Yeah. I mean, it is a really, really good league. And so that is not an easy thing to do. But, I was really disappointed with how our season ended last year. Georgetown's really good. I mean, I think Chris Briggs he's not the best coach in the country. He's got to be right there.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, but to lose kind of the way that we did, I thought we got out tough. It really kind of put a sour taste in my mouth this whole offseason. It's taken me a long time to kind of get over that game. And so, we came here to have a chance to win national championships. And obviously it's a really, really difficult thing to do. My last year at Talladega, we were close. And then obviously last year we were kind of in the hunt, but just didn't get it done come March. And so that's our ultimate goal.
Yeah, you got to give Coach Briggs a lot of credit, though. I mean, that team last season, they got to Kansas City, and they kind of just muscled their way to that Final Four. I mean, you talk about they out-toughed you a little bit. They kind of did that all the way through. That was a tough bunch.
Yeah, it's never fun to play a team that's got really good players and good coaches. And to be honest with you, when the bracket reveal came out, I knew that if we reached Kansas City, that's probably who we would be playing. And so I did not love that matchup for sure.
I want you to talk about the support. You talked about the administrative support, which is very important, but talk about overall the support you've received and your reception you've received at Langston.
Oh, it's from the first day that I got here. I think it's been almost like a dream. It's a place that has historically had a lot of success athletically. And so to inherit a program that was kind of down, and for us to be able to come in here and do what we've done, I think that, it's been really cool just to see our, alumni and boosters really jump on board, our student body, and really be excited about basketball here. I think that's a rarity at the small college level. And so I think anytime you have that type of excitement around your program, it's really, really special.
I have a kind of a dumb question to ask you. CF Gale's Fieldhouse is the building where your gym is, and then the actual floor, it's the Marcus Haynes court, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
When Marcus Haynes is a name everybody knows who it is. I'm just surprised that you list the games being played at CF Gales Fieldhouse. If it was me, I'd say come to Marcus Haynes Court.
Hey,
I don't even know why I brought that up.
No, hey, that's so obviously, yeah, Marcus Haynes, obviously a legend in the game of basketball. And then our field house, so it's named after Zip Gales, who was a Hall of Fame coach here at Langston. So Langston was actually an early member of the SWAC. And so Coach Gales coached Marcus Haynes. And so it's kind of neat that both those men are honored in our facilities.
Okay. And I don't want anybody at Langston or in the Southwest to think I was talking poorly of CF Gales. I'm certainly not. But that Marcus Haynes, that's what a trademark that is. So I want to I didn't know last year when I met you, I didn't know this until after the basketball season, what a great mentor you had in your athletic director there at Langston. I met Danita Rogers in Kansas City. I just kind of walked up to her because she was wearing Langston gear. And anybody who knows me knows I just kind of walk up to everybody. And I got to know her a little bit, and I actually interviewed her toward the end of last season. But she has some deep coaching experience at the college level, including Grambling. She coached boys basketball, I think, in Louisiana. She coached there at Langston. She was an amazing college basketball player in her own right. Just talk about Danita Rogers, your athletic director.
First off, she is an absolutely just wonderful human being. I think she has a tremendous heart. She really cares about people. Sometimes in college athletics, people in high positions, they really only care about themselves. And nothing could be further from the truth with her. And then, to have an athletic director that's been a successful basketball coach, it's fun to be able to talk basketball with her. She stops by and pops her head into practice, usually about, once a day for a few minutes. And so it's really cool for me to be able to kind of get her feedback and just to have her along on our journey. I mean, she's all in with us, as is her family. And so it's really neat to have that type of relationship with the person you get to work for.
I really enjoyed meeting her and interviewing her, and her story is amazing. And then what she did with hiring you and turning that basketball program around just was kind of a cap on what she's done so far. And she's not done, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
She's not happy with a conference championship or 31 games, right? That's not why she brought you to Langston.
Yeah, she's been teasing me a lot about when we were going to get the first red banner in there. So, I told her we're going to keep our fingers crossed and, hope that we can get one of those one day.
Doing what you did, everybody knows now what you did there at Langston. Again, a storybook turnaround. That's phenomenal. It's difficult and it's phenomenal, but what's even harder is keeping it going. So what was your mindset coming into your recruiting season? You were thinking what?
So Billy D, like our team last year reminded me of our team a lot 2 years ago at Talladega, right? Like we had, some good players back, but even, as we were going through last year, I thought that this is the year we would really have a chance to be really, really good. Just because last year we, basically a complete new team. And so, we wanted to go out and, I told all of our returners that we were trying to replace them all, right? We were trying to get better at every single spot. We weren't happy with how the season ended. And so, fortunately, I have a great staff. Those guys worked really hard and we were able to go out and, sign 8 guys that I think are going to help us quite a bit on the court.
But before we get to your this year's recruiting class, I mean, you've got a pretty good core. I know you've lost a lot, but you have a pretty good core coming back to build around. And I think it's all going to start there at the point with he really produced for you last year, Toru Dean. Toru, say his first name. Toru Dean. He's going to be a senior this year. He's out of Miami. Talk about his leadership.
Toru is a guy that, man, to see him, how he grew from the first of the year to the end of the season is amazing. He's turned into a really, really good leader. He cares as much as anyone. He works as hard as anyone. He's coachable. The guy lives in the gym. I couldn't ask to have a better point guard. I mean that. I mean, he's a winner. He does everything that we ask him to do. And then just kind of with how we play defensively, it all starts with him and how he's able to pressure the ball. And so, yeah, we're expecting big things out of him, and I think he's very, very underrated. I think he's one of the best point guards in the country, and I don't think he gets the credit sometimes that I think he might deserve.
Cortez Mosley, great defender last season. I know that you build your teams around stopping the ball, around defending the ball. He's going to be a senior this year, along with DeMonte Brown, 6'4" out of Petersburg, Virginia. I'm sorry, Cortez Mosley. He's out of Peoria, Illinois. So talk about those two guys, especially Cortez Mosley and what his defense means to your team.
Both high energy guys. Both those guys are extremely athletic. Cortez was a defensive player of the year for us. Man, I love that kid. He's overcome a lot of obstacles in his life, and to see him, he's going to graduate at the end of the year, and to see him have the success that he's had on the court is really a testament, right, to his toughness. And man, I always think that Taz is like the ultimate glue guy.
Okay.
He's very skilled. Literally, Billy D, he played all 5 positions for us at one point last year. I think there was a 7-game stretch where we did not have one healthy 5-man. And so, he guarded inside. We had times when Taru was hurt, and so he had to slide over and play the point at times. And so he's just a guy that has a really good IQ that, is going to do whatever you need to do to win basketball games. And then DeMonte Brown. Monte came in last year, kind of struggled in the preseason, but we knew how talented he was, and then he really figured it out. I think he was like 12 and 6 for us off the bench. Again, another guy that plays extremely hard, that's very tough, shoots it well, and so having those guys on the wing is definitely a huge advantage for us.
And then a guy, one more that fans should watch. He's going to play. He's going to be a junior this year out of Philadelphia, Sharif Knox. Talk about his game.
So Sharif came with us at the Dagar last year when we lost in the national title game, but he redshirted. And so seeing him get back in shape, and he was just starting to really come into his own. I think he had 14 points in the first half against Wayland Baptist. Early in the second half, suffered a Liz Frank injury on his foot. And so he was out for almost the whole semester, came back and played at the very end. But, the only game we lost all year when he suited up was the game against Georgetown. And so he's just, again, has a lot of toughness. He's a versatile guy. He's kind of a pick and pop forward, but does a lot of just winning things that don't always show up in the stat sheet. And so we're excited for him to be healthy. And I think he does a lot of things that just help you win games.
And then I think by now everybody knows you hit that recruiting trail pretty hard. You brought in, I think eight guys. 6 of them played some D1 ball. Some of them have unbelievable resumes. Coach, you and I talked a little bit about this. When you pull in 8 guys, a lot of them played D1. A lot of them are transferring with these amazing resumes. Sometimes you end up taking a chance on a kid, right? Like Jerry Tarkanian was really famous for this, and he had great success with it. When you're out recruiting guys who are either stepping over or stepping down, when you talk to them, when you meet with them, when you talk to coaches, what are you looking for that says this guy is going to be a Langston guy?
So for me, Billy D, I think there's a lot of people out there in the world that it's really easy to judge guys. But I don't think there's a lot of people out there willing to give people a second chance. I think back to when I was 21, 22 years old, there's a lot of stupid stuff I did that, I'm only here because of, really because of God's grace. And I really mean, I could have had a lot of things go really wrong. And so, for me, it is a family, right? Like my wife's very involved. My son is involved. Like we do this together. And so if someone has a good heart and they want to grow and they want to change, they want to do things the right way, then, I'm open to giving guys a second chance. And so, for instance, we have a young man, Anthony Roy, that's with us that was at New Mexico State. He'd gotten in trouble in junior college. And, man, I tell you what, like talking to Ant and getting to know him, I was really sold right away on him. He's a really good person. We've taken, I'm gonna be honest with you, we've taken a little bit of flack. People have said some not so nice things about us, for taking it. And to be honest, at the end of the day, I really don't care. He's a very good person. He's been an absolute dream to coach so far. There's not a guy that cares as much as he does, that works as hard as he does. And he's been a great leader for us. And so I'm really excited to see Anthony take the floor, and he's going to have a phenomenal year. And, again, I think that God has some big things in store for him.
That guy can hoop, can't he?
Hey, he can really score it. I mean, if he's not an All-American this year, then, again, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. It might be the case, Billy D, but, yeah, I think as talented as there is at this level.
You talked about vetting, for lack of another word. You have a very involved administration there. The school has a culture that they're jealous of, I would say. Because they're not going to, they want people to come in that are going to represent the school well. Does that help also that you have that extra support? Because it seems to me when I talk to like some of your administration that they're really involved in what kind of a culture you build.
Oh, absolutely. And it's fun again, like to feel like you're doing it with your administration and with your athletic director. It's really special, right? So like, if we have a guy that we're going to take a chance on, for instance, Anthony Roy popped up, kind of at the end of the summer. And, our president at the time, Dr. Ken Smith. So Dr. Smith is retired and owns a Chick-fil-A in Omaha now.
Wow.
So we miss him, but like, he sat down with us and, he talked to Anthony, our athletic director did, and, we thought it was a good decision for us to bring him here and make him a part of our family. And so there is a lot of support. And, with our new interim president, Dr. Ruth Jackson, she's exactly the same way. And so as a head coach, it's really nice to know that you have that type of backing.
Yeah, I knew you had that culture there. I know. I mean, you're not sneaking guys into Langston in the middle of the night. I mean, those guys get a lot of eyeballs on them.
No, hey, no, yes, sir. No. And I think that, at this level, like a lot of times, if you're going to get a guy that's really, really good, they're with you for some reason, right? Whether it's their clock issues, whether it's academics or maybe they made a mistake or two in the past. And so, our goal is we want to be the most talented team in the country, every single year. And so, but we also want to take people that fit our culture and fit our school's mission and fit what we're trying to do. And so I think it is a very, very delicate balance. But if it's done right, I think you can be, extremely successful with that recipe.
These 8 guys, 6 of them played some D1. Talk about this recruiting class and who we should watch. Obviously, we mentioned Anthony Roy. He's probably the most talented guy you brought in.
He's definitely up there. And so out of the 6 Division I guys that we signed, at some point in their career at the Division I level, they all averaged 7 points a game or more, right? Like sometimes you see guys getting Division I transfers that haven't produced. And so for us, we really try to stay away from that. Like, I think if you're in a low major league and you don't put up numbers, I really don't want you here because, for us to win the national title, I think we would have to be able to compete with or beat probably 25 or 30% of the low major. And so for us to be able to go get, 6 Division I transfers that have produced, I think, makes me sleep a lot better at night. And so, you mentioned Anthony Roy. Jay Allen Tovar was at New Mexico. I think he was 8-6 at New Mexico, averaged a couple blocks a game. He's very, very talented as well. And, kind of gives us a piece inside that we didn't have last year.
He's 6'9" too. You didn't mention that.
He is. He, gives us kind of a rim protector. He moves very well. He's skilled. He can step out and shoot the 3. And so it's I thought when we got him late, completely changed the complexion of our team.
Who else of these? I don't want to read through the whole group and bore people, but it's available on your website. But who else on here do you think has a chance of being special this season? Well, they all have a chance, right? But who are you really excited about?
So one of the first guys we signed, Ron Mitchell, transferred from Sam Houston State. Ron's a really tough kid, shoots it, really, really defends. He ended up committing to us and canceled some visits of schools that he had. And so, he's a great kid, and I think he's going to have an absolutely breakout year. And so for us, we really wanted to improve our size. So our wings are a lot bigger. I thought Georgetown kind of picked on us. We were smaller, at the 2 and 3 spot last year. And so we wanted to go out and kind of address that. And I definitely think that we have.
On Mitchell, on your write-up, you said his numbers at Sam Houston didn't do him justice. Talk about what you meant by that.
So he went to UMass Lowell out of high school. So he was about 8 points a game as a freshman there. And then went to Colby Community College, had a really good season. And then at Sam Houston, he just never, never got going. What he does offensive, I think he's an absolute bucket, as our guys would say, right? He can really score. But he is a lockdown defender. And so I think that, as the season goes on, people will see how good of a basketball player Ron Mitchell is.
And I would encourage everybody, if you just go to the Langston basketball site, go to news. The top story on there is a long write-up on each of the recruits. I think you would enjoy it. You guys did a really good job with that, Coach. You got to be excited.
Billy D, I am. I'm right. Like, I think as a coach, you're always cautiously optimistic, right? Again, we play in a really good league. with a lot of good coaches and players. And, winning is so hard. I think I don't ever want to get to a point where I take it for granted. We've been fortunate to win 30 plus games the last 2 years, but it's really, really difficult to do. And so I like our guys a lot. Obviously, it's the first week of practice here, so I've had to bleach my eyes a little bit watching this. We got to get a lot better really quickly, but I definitely think that we have a chance to be playing really well come national tournament time.
You mentioned the Sooner Athletic Conference where you guys play. That conference is a tough conference, as you mentioned, and I guarantee you they're going to come gunning for you. I mean, everybody's going to circle the date when they play you. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, again, when you look at the league, and I just think of how well coached the league is, right? With guys that have won national titles, Josh Gamblin, Brendan Shingleton, Delton Dill and Chris Francis have made deep runs in the national tournament, both really, really good coaches. And then, one of my best friends, Clint Gallion, that was my assistant at Central Baptist. I think the guy's been a head coach for 5 years, and he's made the national tournament 4 years. I mean, that's a lot better than I did. And Wayland Baptist is absolutely loaded this year. And so, yeah, when you think about our league, it gives me headaches kind of thinking about going on the road to all those places. So, last year we got 3 teams in the national tournament. I was glad that Sagu got in, and, they went down and won a first round game at Loyola.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the RPI numbers, and I won't go on that whole rampage about it because I think a lot of it's some nonsense, just how that's configured. But like our league's a lot better than it got credit for last year. I really believe that.
You're recruiting guys who played NC2A ball. You've had great success at this level, at the NAI level. When you look at NAI level compared to other levels of basketball, I get a little frustrated. I don't think it gets the respect it deserves, but what is your opinion of where it's at?
I think, NAI basketball is really, really good. I would agree with you. I think sometimes NAI kind of has a negative stigma to it. But, to me, the top part of NAI and Division II is exactly the same, right? We're trying to get the same players. And again, I think if you look at the top 15 NAI programs in the country, they were go play a lot of low majors. They would beat them on any given night. And so I don't think that people understand how good of players there are at this level. And so, sometimes I get frustrated. We have people call us. They're like, it'd be a good player for your level. Right. And that kind of instantly pisses me off. I'm like, well, right. And I'm like, well, have you seen us play? And usually their answer is no. And I'm like, look, man, if the guy couldn't play in the Southland Conference, at least I don't want him here. Right. He's not good enough. And so sometimes it kind of takes people back. But yeah, I mean, and not only the level of talent in the NAI, but the level of coaching. I mean, there are so many good coaches around the country that are very, very underrated. And so it's a fun time to be a part of the NAI. I love it. I've had chances to go other places, even last year, but I really do love the NAI, and there's so many good things about it.
Well, people get tired of hearing me say it, but my elevator speech always starts with, it's 8 scholarship basketball. You can only play 5 at a time, and most teams run an 8-man rotation. So skill level is, you got the opportunity to get the same guys everybody else has. And, I always say the same thing what you just said. I believe that the top 50 NAI teams can get on the floor and at least compete with any other basketball team in the country.
I mean, I definitely think at the low major level, I think possibly some mid majors, obviously at the Power 5 level, I think that's it can be a little different, but yeah, I mean, when you look at all the players that have transferred up Division I the last few years, right? Like Miles Burns and Zach Reitzel, and then obviously the big fella from Jamestown, right, this year. I mean, every year there's, the past few years, there's been 4 or 5 guys go and really produce, at the mid-major or high-major level. So I just think that's a testament to how good, this level is.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good barometer. Those guys a couple years ago, Miles Burns, Zach Reitzel. We're going to have another barometer this year. As you said, Mason Walters is going to play at Wyoming, and Riley Minix, he's playing it. Yeah, and the team, but there's a couple more guys, and I think they'll both do well. They're built for, Riley Minix is, how strong he is, and Mason Walters is just a bull inside.
Oh yeah, no, obviously really, really good players. You think of a guy, C.J. Miles, right? That was at Faulkner. I think he's going to do really well in the slash. Yep. And so literally, I think, there's 7 or 8 guys that I think are going to go have great success at the Division I level.
Well, Coach Wright, I really appreciate you. I know it's a busy time for you. You're getting practice started. You're out there shining up your trophies, hoping you can get another one. But I appreciate you giving me a couple of minutes and giving us an update on Langston basketball.
Well, Billy D, I always appreciate you, man. I hope I get to see you in Kansas City. That would be great. We need to grab some good barbecue if we're fortunate enough to make it back there.
Well, I guarantee you I'm going. In fact, I'm getting ready to get my I see, that's the cool thing. I don't have to wait for get my ticket punched, Coach. You got to earn your way there.
No doubt. You probably sleep a little easier throughout the year than I do. So I'm a little jealous of you, Billy D.
Well, that's Coach Chris Wright, Langston Lion basketball. Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, I appreciate you, sir. Always good talking to you.
Hey, thank you very much to Coach Chris Wright there at Langston. Also, thank you to Langston University for making him available, letting us talk some Langston Lion basketball. He's got some great players coming in. If he can blend that together with the returners, Coach Wright might have something special going there this season. We'll have to wait till we throw the ball up, though. Hey, thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in a couple of days. Thank you. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAI school because NAI basketball is the best entertainment value in America.